The morning sun hadn't yet burned off the fog when I spotted the chain-link fence cutting across the meadow behind my house. It appeared overnight, a jagged scar of metal slicing through the wildflowers that edged Pine Hollow Grove, our little slice of suburban Eden. I thought it was a mistake, maybe a utility company marking a gas line, but then I saw the sign, future site of Pine Hollow Recreation Center. Approved by Pine Hollow HOA. No warning, no vote, no whisper of this in the monthly newsletters. Just a fence and a promise of something nobody asked for. My name's Ethan Caldwell, ex-Navy SEAL, 22 years running ops in places where trust was rarer than water. I settled in Pine Hollow 5 years ago for my son, Noah, wanting a quiet place where he could grow up safe, with grass to run on and neighbors who didn't lock their doors. But quiet doesn't last when power-hungry folks in polo shirts start reshaping your backyard. The meadow wasn't just a pretty view. It was a buffer, a natural sponge for the runoff that poured down from the hills every spring. I'd seen it flood, watched it swallow tires and mailboxes in 21. As a SEAL, I'd learned to read terrain like a book, and this one screamed trouble. I marched to the HOA office, a squat building decked out in fake stone, and asked for plans. The receptionist handed me a glossy pamphlet with artist renderings of a rec center gym, pool, the works, but no blueprints, no environmental reports. The board president, Diane Kessler, met me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Caldwell, this will boost property values," she said, dodging my questions about permits. I pressed harder, citing flood risks. She waved me off. "The board's handled it. Trust us." Trust wasn't my strong suit. I started digging. The crew broke ground a week later, bulldozers churning up the meadow while Noah watched from our porch, asking why they were killing the flowers. I didn't have a good answer. I photographed the site. Shallow footings, no drainage pipes, no silt barriers. I'd built outposts in flood zones. This was a recipe for disaster. I emailed the HOA, the county, anyone who'd listen. No replies. At the next board meeting, I stood in a room of folding chairs, facing Diane's smug grin. "Who approved this?" I asked. She leaned forward, voice syrupy. "The board has full authority under Article 7, Mr. Caldwell. This is for the community." The community? Nobody on my street wanted a rec center we'd never use, especially not one eating up the meadow that kept our basements dry. I started documenting everything: photos, videos, soil samples I tested with a kit from my Navy days. The ground was too soft, saturated from years of runoff. I found an old county map showing the meadow as a designated floodplain, off limits for permanent structures. I sent it to the HOA with a letter, citing my credentials. 2 days later, a notice arrived, accusing me of obstructing community progress and threatening a $500 fine. My trash cans went uncollected. Neighbors stopped waving. Diane was tightening the screws, but I wasn't backing down. By month 2, the rec center's foundation was poured, a concrete slab sitting like a lid on the meadow's natural flow. After a rain, water pooled against it, creeping toward my neighbor Lila's fence. She cornered me at the mailbox, worried about her garden. Another neighbor, Raj, found a budget line buried in an HOA report: $120,000 for open space enhancement. No bids, no transparency. I filed a FOIA request with the HOA's management company, Green Valley Partners. Construction paused 3 days later, a flimsy, under review, sign taped to the fence. Diane's smile faltered at the next meeting when Lila and Raj demanded answers. She clutched her tablet, muttering about executive discretion, but the room was turning. Then the storms hit. 3 days of rain turned the meadow into a lake, the slab a dam trapping water that should have drained. By midnight, Lila's basement was flooding, Raj's shed tilting into mud. I grabbed my flashlight and waders, helping neighbors sandbag as Noah packed his go-bag, a drill we'd practiced since he was 6. Diane appeared, rain-soaked, screaming I was sabotaging unity. I pointed to the water lapping at Lila's door. "That's your unity," I snapped. The county sent inspectors the next morning, real ones, with badges. They confirmed my fears. No permits, no flood studies, just a slab built on arrogance. That night, the foundation cracked, a jagged split running through the concrete like a warning shot. Water poured through, washing out Lila's yard and Raj's driveway. Diane stood in the chaos, yelling at a county official who ignored her. The truth unraveled fast. Leaked emails showed Diane funneling the contract to her nephew's company, unlicensed for flood zone work, paid $120,000 in HOA funds for a project they knew was risky. The county froze the HOA's accounts, launched an audit, and opened a criminal probe. Lila, Raj, and others joined a class action lawsuit. I testified at a packed town hall, showing photos, maps, and emails. Her lawyer tried to blame the contractor, but the evidence was a noose. Diane resigned, citing personal stress, her empire crumbling. We rebuilt, not just the meadow but our trust. A new HOA formed, with Lila and Raj on the board. I joined, pushed by Noah's quiet insistence. You fought for us, Dad. The meadow was restored, no rec center, just wildflowers and a proper drainage system. Noah's photos of the recovery went viral on our new community site. The county cited our case in statewide HOA reforms. Noah started a podcast, Echoes from the Hollow, sharing our fight. Standing by the meadow one spring, watching water flow free, I felt the weight lift. Diane's reign was gone, drowned not by anger, but by a community that finally spoke louder than her lies.